You are Locked On Warriors Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Warriors Postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for Murph and Mac in the morning on KMBR. And tonight, Klay Thompson came out of the gates scorching hot in this one as he led the Warriors to a 118-110 win over the Utah Jazz, despite not having Steph and Curry in this one. The Warriors have now won 7 of their last 8 games. Everyone showed up tonight. Klay Thompson said it best himself after this one went final: strength in numbers. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Warriors podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate it. And make sure to check out the Locked On Warriors daily show for more in-depth coverage. Cyrus does a great job. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Klay Thompson came out on fire, a man possessed in this one, and led the Warriors with a ton of threes right out of the gate. Warriors went on an 11-0 run there in that first quarter, and it was all Klay all night long. He had 25 points in the first half in this one, the highest scoring half of any half. First half, second half, doesn't matter this season for Klay Thompson. He ended up finishing with 32 points, but he only played 22 minutes, did not play a lot in that second half. And that's great to see. In a night that the Warriors rest Steph, you can also only play Klay 22 minutes and still pick up a win. That's a huge victory. And not just Klay, but the entire team. The minutes distribution tonight was very even. Nobody played over 26 minutes. Chris Paul played a team-high 26 minutes. This is great. This was what the Warriors needed, and they played the right team at the right time. The Utah Jazz, just 9-29 on the road this season. The Warriors desperately needing a win at home, and they finally lift that home record back up to 500 again. Now 19-19 at Chase Center, the gravitational pull of 500. Shout out Brian Murphy. And the Jazz, not very good lately. They've won 3 of their last 26. That's right, 3 of their last 26. So not the best, not the toughest opponent the Warriors are going to face down the stretch. And even before this one, even before this game, the Warriors had an opportunity to clinch by winning tonight if the Jazz or the Rockets had won earlier today, but the Houston Rockets lost. Thus, the Warriors have officially clinched a berth in the play-in tournament. At a bare minimum, the Warriors season will not end at the end of the regular season. So something to hang your hat on. The Warriors can now solely focus, as they kind of already were. They were kind of in this mindset already, but they can really, truly lock in and just focus on trying to climb up that Western Conference playoff standings. They have a couple more games to do it. They're going to need some help. Some teams are going to need to start picking up some losses. The Lakers, the Kings, the Pelicans, all those teams are going to have to start losing some games. The Kings have been losing some games, but the Lakers are going to need to start losing some games. The Pelicans going to need to start losing some games if the Warriors are going to have any chance at climbing up that leaderboard. And I honestly don't think it's going to happen. I think the Warriors are going to have to be kind of stuck in this 10th seed, and we'll roll the dice and see what happens, who they draw in this play-in tournament. It could really be anybody at this, not anybody, but there's 3-4 different teams. I think it's really down to 3 teams: the Kings, the Pelicans, and the Lakers. It's going to be one of those 3. And we'll talk a little later in the show about, I'm kind of curious who you guys would rather see between those 3 teams in that first round. We'll break it down a little bit later for you. But again, Klay Thompson tonight, magnificent performance, just shot the lights out from everywhere. 12 of 20 from the field, over 50%, 6 of 11 from 3, over 50% from 3 as well. He had 4 boards, he had 4 assists. Klay continuing that connection with TJD that he has, where he's just finding him all the time on lobs. It was right away in this one. You saw Klay get it to TJD a couple times in the post, and it was a fun one tonight, man. Kuminga came back as well. He made his return from injury. Very very important to note. Wiggins was also out in this one. A couple injury notes for you guys. Wiggins did not play. He's still nursing that ankle. But Kuminga, in his return, also didn't need to play a ton of minutes. The Warriors limited him to 19, and he scored 12 points, and he had 9 rebounds. It was a nice night from Kuminga. First play that he comes in for, gets a block, takes the ball down court, finds Klay in transition. Klay drains a three, picks up a block and an assist, all in one play. In the first action that he sees back on the court, he did not show a lot of signs of rust in this one tonight. He looked pretty good, I thought. Yeah, he still needs to get his wind back. He even said that himself during the halftime interview with Fitz. Kuminga said, he's a little tired. He kind of took some deep breaths. Let me catch my breath real quick before we do this interview. He told Fitz, but I liked what I saw from Kuminga tonight, and I want to see more of him before the playoffs. The Warriors obviously need to ramp him back up a little bit, get his minutes back to where they need to be, but I want to see him and Wiggins on the court. I want to see the Warriors figure out how to mesh those two guys. We've talked about it on the show before. I don't know that they can coexist in the same lineup. I think you maybe got to split them up. So I want to see the Warriors figure that out before the postseason, before the play-in tournament. They have to. They have to if they want to beat teams like the Lakers or the Kings or the Pelicans. You need to come with your best lineup. And if the Warriors don't know what that is, that's a problem at this point in the season. Had 82 games to figure it out. By that point, you will have had 82 games to figure it out. You need to figure it out. And I don't think they're super close, honestly. Like they're right there, but they just haven't been able to do it yet. And I think that we just need to see if Kuminga and Wiggins can mesh together on the court at the same time. If not, it might be a problem. So again, in this one, Klay just railing threes from the start in this one. But you know who else was railing threes for the Utah Jazz and kept them hanging around was Johnny Juzang. He had 5 for 5 from 3, just drilling threes. He had 4 of those in the first quarter. In the first half, he started out 5 for 5 from 3. He was just on fire in this one. He was getting everything he wanted from distance. He finished the game 6 of 7 from three-point land, 8 of 11 from the field. Led the Jazz with 22 points. That was pretty much all he could do. I'm sorry. He finished 7 of 8 with 27 points. My internet's been really weird today, man. I just realized my box score's not updating. My bad, dude. But yeah, he finished with some efficient numbers tonight. He was pretty good tonight. And but I want to correct something else earlier. I said my bad, guys. Klay 28 minutes tonight, so he still did rest. Not 22 minutes though, but 28 minutes. Not the normal minutes amount that he normally plays. 6 of 13 from 3 and 12 of 23 from the field. So just under 50% from the field and just under 50% from 3. Still a phenomenal night from Klay. 5 boards, 4 assists, a steal. Great night from Klay. A lot of different Warriors pitched in this one. Kuminga 21 points, 9 of 11 from the field. Even hit a 3 in this one. It was nice to see 10 boards, 4 assists. A very nice night from Kuminga all around, and that block, of course, as I mentioned. It was really good to see how the Warriors just stepped up without Steph, and pick up another win. You should beat a team like the Utah Jazz that has been struggling, but it's good to see them be able to just get one. They played the Spurs earlier this year when they were banged up and injured, and they just couldn't win, and that was so frustrating. And I kind of felt like this one might go that same way if they were resting Steph. When I heard the news that he was resting, it wasn't my favorite thing to hear, but I'm glad they got the win. Steph needs the time to rest. He absolutely needs the time to rest. It's essential. He's played so many games. He's been an absolute durability warrior throughout this season, and he's really carried this team through so many rough stretches with so many other stars missing time. You have to find a way to get Steph rest, and the Warriors did that tonight. sneak in some rest against teams like the Jazz. Maybe they can get them rest in the final game of the season as well, as long as there's not something huge on the line. And maybe you can get them some rest against maybe the Blazers as well. But tonight, great win for the Warriors, and got to rest Curry 118-110. And it really wasn't that close. The Warriors were up by a lot for a while in this one, and we're playing a lot of bench guys, getting guys like Moses Moody some extended minutes, 26 minutes for Moody, 16 for Gary Payton, and even guys like Pat Spencer got some run tonight. So a lot of Warriors showing up and playing well. So that, as Klay said in that brief interview I saw post game, he said, strength in numbers. It's what we've come to expect from this Warriors squad. When they win games, that's how they do it. Everybody shows up. Brandon Podziemski also had a very nice night tonight. He's got another game with at least 10 points, 5 boards, and 5 assists. He's had a 17 such of those games this season, second amongst all rookies, only trails Wemby. So that's some pretty good company to be in if you're Brandon Podziemski. So great night for the Warriors. Good job, resting Steph, picking up a win still, and on to the Los Angeles Lakers. I hate the Lakers. Every single team from LA, I hate every single one of them. That includes the Lakers. And I don't like seeing LeBron James out there either. And I'm sure all of you guys can relate as well. It's the last thing you want if you're a Warriors fan is to see LeBron James in the playoffs again. And we got to talk about that later too. The Warriors' potential matchups in the play-in tournament. Is it going to be the Lakers, the Kings, the Pelicans, and who do you want it to be? We'll break it down. No rest for Kuminga tonight. Klay goes bananas, scoring all sorts of points, scoring in bunches, splashing in 6 threes when he's missing his Splash Brother counterpart, Steph Curry, in an important night for rest for the greatest point guard of all time. So we'll break it down on the other side. Warriors going forward, the path to the play-in. Can they climb the ladder? We'll break that down and more. You're watching the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Today's episode of Locked On Sports Bay Area is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. March is over, but the biggest moments in college basketball tip off the month of April. Be a part of the action on PrizePicks for both men's and women's college basketball. That women's final today was nuts. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks. With as little as 4 correct picks, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with basketball, hockey, and college basketball entries today on PrizePicks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. It's PrizePicks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, the Warriors 118-110 win over the Utah Jazz. No Stephen Curry in this one. No Andrew Wiggins. No problem, because the Warriors had vintage Klay Thompson out there scoring 32 points, splashing in 6 threes. Great job being able to get Steph some rest ahead of this looming massive matchup against the Lakers. And the Lakers, obviously, right, just a couple games ahead of the Warriors in the Western Conference playoff standings. Can the Warriors climb over the Lakers before the end of the season? This will go a long way to being able to do that, though. They'll need to win this next game if they have any shot of climbing over anybody in the Western Conference before the end of the regular season, before the play-in tournament. So that puts a lot of pressure on this next game. And of course, the Utah Jazz coming into tonight, having won 3 of their last 25, 3 and 22 in that stretch. And with the loss tonight, now 3-23, 3 wins in their last 26. So it was a perfect timing for the Utah Jazz to come to town. The Warriors get a little momentum at Chase Center and able to rest Steph Curry because they got LeBron James next. And man, the Warriors do not play well at Crypto. They don't play well down in LA, and they don't play well against LeBron James. And they especially don't play well against LeBron James in the playoffs. We all have seen what he can do, what the King can do. I'd hate calling him that, but that's kind of what he is. And if you're a Warriors fan, you know exactly what I mean. We don't need to bring up certain years of championships and things like that, but man, honestly, if I'm talking about the play-in tournament, the Lakers are the last team that I want the Warriors to face. They have matchup problems. Draymond has always kind of owned AD a little bit. He's always, given him issues. AD doesn't score the same when Draymond's out there, but still, the length the Lakers have, the size, and no one can really guard LeBron very well on the Warriors. Kuminga is improving defensively. He has the best body to be able to do it, but he's just not there yet defensively. And Wiggins would be the best option, the clear option to guard LeBron in a playoff matchup. It's going to be tough for him to stay with LeBron tomorrow, especially if he's still nursing this ankle. Hopefully today was just an extra day of rest for Wiggs, so he could be, as close to 100% as possible when he's guarding LeBron all day on Tuesday. That's when the Warriors will travel down to LA Tuesday evening. Make sure you join us after for the postcast on that one. We'll come to you live after that buzzer goes final in down there in the crypt. Man, I hate that. And just to make things worse, they got to go and like obliterate the one, like kind of, I kind of liked Kobe. I liked Kobe, even though he was a Laker, but I always associated him so closely with Staples Center, and it was kind of cool, man. It had a lot of history there under that name, and then you just go ahead and rename it to like the worst branding name you could possibly think of, and come up with a terrible nickname like the Crypt for your home court. That's nice. That's nice. Very, very LA. Very LA. Fits. But I digress. The Warriors have issues down there. They don't play well in the Crypt, and they did win some games. They kind of got the monkey off their back earlier this season down there, but I'm not convinced. I still think that that's going to be an incredibly tough matchup if they do have to play the Lakers in the play-in. I hope it's the Kings. The one team that the Warriors have dominated of those three is the Sacramento Kings, the little brother out there in Sacramento in Northern California. They just can't seem to get over the hump against the Warriors. I don't know what it is. Maybe they just see the Bay Bridge on the unis and they just get scared. But De'Aaron Fox plays well against the Warriors. Obviously, Kings fans come with so much vitriol in those matchups. And I mean, I went to a game 5 last year up there in Sac, and that was intense, man. That was one of the most loud arenas I've ever been to, one of the most intense, heated, like passionate fan bases I've ever seen, just dying for a playoff win against this team that's had their thumb on them for forever. And it was legit, man. It was a fun matchup, and for whatever reason, the Warriors just seem to thrive against the Kings. Draymond Green seems to really step up in these games. He's been really good against the Kings, and he was great last year in the playoffs. Steph obviously doing Steph things against them. I think the Warriors just, both teams want to play fast and shoot a lot. And if you want to play that game with the Warriors like their chances against anybody in the NBA. If you got Steph and Klay, and now you got guys like Kuminga coming to fruition, Brandon Pajemski playing really good. TJD looks like the center of the future. We've talked about that a ton on this podcast, but I contractually obligated to talk about Trace Jackson Davis excellence every single show. And he looks like he's going to be a staple for this franchise going forward. An absolute monster on the boards, in the paint. His 40-inch vertical for a guy that big is just crazy, man. The way he throws down these lobs, his connection with Klay, it's all so fun to watch. And he has really blossomed into, I think, the best steal of the draft, the absolute number one best steal of late round picks in this draft. I mean, Wemby is going to win Rookie of the Year. Chet is like a super rookie, so he doesn't count because he wasn't in this last draft. But guys at the top of the draft doing what they're supposed to do, but you don't expect a guy that you pick towards the end of the second round in Trace Jackson Davis, and you don't get a guy like that every year. And it seems like the Warriors do more than most. They end up with those guys from the second round, the Draymond Greens of the world, So great drafting by Mike Dunleavy Jr. We've discussed that before. He's phenomenal in this new role as GM. I really like his fit there, and he's showing out with these picks that he's made with Brandon Pajemski and Trace Jackson Davis. So the Warriors really coming to fruition. All their role players stepped up tonight, and that's great to see because those guys all need to get rolling. Tonight was a nice night for them all to get a little something to hang their hat on, boost that confidence a little bit ahead of what's going to be a very tough matchup against the Lakers. You get Steph some rest. Klay plays under 30 minutes. Trace plays 23 minutes. Draymond only plays 21 minutes. It's good to get your vets some rest in this one for sure. Kuminga, 21 points in the return, 9 for 11 from the field in 27 minutes, 10 boards as well, 4 assists. He was nice. In this real fast, Guy Santos had like the absolute coolest assist of the night. He had that cool little like Andrew Bogut-esque between the legs, like backward pass, and he assisted the 3-pointer on the play. It was fun to see. I like Guy Santos, man. I don't know why. I just really like his effort out there. I think he's got a nice shot. He's growing into his body. He looks huge. He went from being like the skinny guy to just being ripped all of a sudden. So it was fun. It's cool. I like seeing guys just kind of improve like that over time. And I think that he can actually contribute to this team if he gets some more meaningful minutes and develops a little more over the next couple of years. We'll see. We'll see. So again, Warriors 118-110 win over the Utah Jazz with no Stephen Curry, no Andrew Wiggins. On the other side, we'll take a quick break. On the other side, we got to talk more about this win and more about all the permutations of the play-in tournament. Klay Thompson going nuts again in this one. The Warriors really putting themselves in the best possible position that they could right now ahead of the play-in tournament. I am your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. We'll be right back. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find someone who's right for that role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. In fact, this show right now wouldn't have happened without LinkedIn, as it played a pivotal role in me landing this job with Locked On. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals you can't find anywhere else. LinkedIn does all that while making the process easy and intuitive. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within just 24 hours. And over 2.5 million small businesses already use LinkedIn for hiring. Post your job for free today at linkedin.com/lockedonnba. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnba. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back to the Locked On Warriors postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E. Engel. And tonight, Warriors 118-110 win over the Utah Jazz. Klay shot the lights out, man. And he had a fun little post game there. I tuned in just for a brief moment before jumping on here with you guys. And Klay was, basically saying every win is really important right now. Every single win. And he shouted out the young guys, said TJD and Pajemski play with a lot of moxie. I like that word, moxie. It's a nice word. It's a good Scrabble word too. Gets you some points there. And he said that they don't seem like 20 somethings, and at the end he even threw in a little strength in numbers. And it was fun to see Klay talking about these young guys that he does have a very good connection with. I mean, the display of chemistry between him and Trace Jackson Davis on a nightly basis, it seems like. How often do you see Klay throwing alley-oops to dudes in his career? Like, not that much. And he has all of a sudden become a facilitator when Trace Jackson Davis is on the floor. It's really impressive, man, just seeing how Klay is able to do all of this. And it's cool to see him owning this role as he ages into the latter stages of his career and willing to become a passer and that's not something he's ever been. He's always been a shot taker and a shot maker. But Klay, being okay with sharing the rock and dishing out some assists as he does with PJD and really guiding him. Talk about how soft Trace Jackson Davis's hands are. He's so good, man. I feel like that guy could go and play tight end in the NFL and just be like Antonio Gates and just score like 30 touchdowns a year. Like he is so skilled with his hand-eye coordination and his leaping ability and just sheer size. It's a really tough matchup, and he's only going to continue to get better. He's a rookie, and he and Brandon Pajemski have some nice chemistry too. They showed that tonight. They got to figure out how to rebound together once on the court at the same time, because there were multiple times where the two of them collided while they were going up for the same rebound, and Trace Jackson Davis actually knocked a rebound out of Pajemski's hands, out of bounds in this one. A little rough out there for them as far as communicating on the boards, but I think they'll get it done. I think both of them are used to being able to kind of dominate when the other one's not out there, because they've been playing separate roles so much lately. Like Trace has been playing with the starters, Pajemski's been playing a lot with the bench, so they haven't been on the court a ton together lately. Tonight, saw them both in the starting lineup with Steph and Andrew Wiggins out, and obviously Klay showing up, going bananas from beyond the arc, from the field. He had a sweet reverse layup in this one too. That was wet. That was so fun to watch. Klay in the postgame actually said he was a little disappointed with himself. Said that he clanked a few, quote, at the end there, and that he was, bummed a little bit. But, I think Klay can chill out. He was totally on fire in this one, led the Warriors again, cooled off a little bit in the second half, but 25 points in the first half. What more do you want from Klay Thompson, man? Captain Klay just leading the way to victory. He said that all he wants is a shot. That's all the Warriors want, is a shot, and that they know they can do some damage in the postseason. We've heard this time and time again from Steph, from Steve Kerr, from Klay, from Draymond, and that's all. I think all of us truly believe the same thing. I know I do. If the Warriors can get into the postseason, they can beat anybody in a 4-game series if they are at their best. If everybody's healthy and if they play up to their abilities. Andrew Wiggins, I'm talking to you. If they can do that, they will win. And I think go at least a couple rounds in this playoffs. I mean, championship is going to be tough with this team, just point blank. A championship is going to be tough. The road there is going to be really hard. But I think the Warriors are probably one of the better built play-in teams to be able to have a shot to do that, to be able to make some NBA history and be the first play-in tournament team to win a championship is going to take a lot, but the Warriors have the right pieces to do it. We have a generational talent like Steph Curry. Anything is possible, or we could say anything is possible with Brandon Pajemski being on the roster. You know what I mean? So who knows? Anything can happen once you get there. You just got to get there. The Warriors took a step forward today. The Houston Rockets losing and them winning. They clinched playoffs. They clinched it before this game even kicked off with the Rockets lost. So they're going to the NBA play-in tournament. They can at least get there. Now, the next step is get out of that tournament and into the real postseason and see what happens. Roll the dice. Anything is possible once you're there with Steph, with Klay. We saw what Klay can do tonight. They can turn back the clock. And I think those guys are able to do that and know what time it is. When it is winning time, those two guys, man, they can carry you some distance. And Jonathan Kuminga showing up tonight the way he did, showing absolutely no rust at all. That is a great sign. Hopefully, Andrew Wiggins can come back and show the same thing. He was playing pretty well before the injury. Hopefully, he comes back the same way Jonathan Kuminga came back, like a man on a mission. Warriors, again, 118, 110 win over the Utah Jazz. Wasn't that close. Klay leads the way, 32 points for Captain Klay. And Kuminga, 21 points off the bench in his return. A lot of good things in this one for the Warriors. They've got a little ways to go if they're going to climb up the leaderboard ahead of the playoffs. And I really hope they don't face the Lakers in the postseason, in the play-in tournament. I hope it's the Sacramento Kings. Thanks for joining us. That's about all the time that we have for you in this one. Locked On Warriors POSTCAST will be coming to you live on Tuesday after Warriors Lakers. A big matchup. You're not going to want to miss that one. So make sure you tune in then. And also, make sure you tune into the Locked On Giants POSTCAST tomorrow as the Giants have Blake Snell's debut in a Giants uni against the Washington Nationals. We'll keep coming to you live after that as well. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Peace.